Yeah. Dr. Jones, can you hear me? Yeah, it's Agent 47. I have the, well, I hope I have it. I'm at the cave, is that alright? This is the place you wanted, right? Yeah, no, I think I'm in the clear. Everything should be going to plan. I think that it definitely... No, it's alright. Just a slight setback. He's dead. I got it. Don't worry. I think I'm in the clear now for sure. I'm gonna... Okay, yeah. I think. So, by the way, I know I've been working for you for a while, and you're kind of my idol, but, well, anyway, yeah. No? Okay, yeah, I got it. Shut up. Okay. Well, the first thing I have is... Lightsaber. You want a lightsaber? No? No. Yeah, you don't want that. Why would you want that? Okay. Well, the next thing I found... Oh, I've got Thanos' gauntlet from, with the Infinity Stones. You want... No, you don't want that? Okay. It's fine. Here, I got something else. Some kind of dagger from, like, Pandora? No? No. Yeah. Oh, you don't want that? No, you don't want that. Oh, I've got something else right here. Grogu. You want Grogu? The Yoda Yaddle creature? No? Okay. Well, anyway, I gotta tell you, I've been kind of, making a beard for that. I think you might enjoy it. There's a lot of noises outside. I think I might be getting tracked, but, I've been growing this out for a while. Oh, you don't like it. You hate the beard. No, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. I'll get rid of it right now, actually. Right now. No, that's okay. Yeah, I just shaved it off. It's fine. It's cool. So there's nothing else you want. Just that one artifact, right? Okay, gotcha. Well, I'm going to make my way to it. I don't know where it is, though. I looked through this entire place. I mean, you have Grogu, the gauntlet. You know, hang on a minute. I think... Yeah, you know what? I think... Indiana Jones. The Lost Journal? Dr. Jones, this is what you wanted, correct? Alright, cool. Thank you very much. You've been a great inspiration to me. Thank you for that. And I'll see you back at HQ. Over and out. Thank you, Dr. Jones, for this book. Thank you for lending me right to your journal. And thank you for lending me right to all of your secrets. I'll be taking this. Thanks very much. Not too bad, Agent 47. Not too bad. Hey guys, how y'all doing today? My name is Franchise Fanatic, and welcome back to the channel. And today for you guys is another LEGO video game review in my big series. I'm reviewing every single LEGO game from LEGO Star Wars The Complete Saga up until LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga. Apparently still coming in spring. We still have nothing. It's radio silence. It's garbage. It's horrible. We all know the marketing sucks. When we do get news, I will be covering it on the channel. However, today, first and foremost, hope you enjoyed my little skits. You could probably understand from reading the title or just, watching the skit. Today we're tackling the next LEGO game after the Complete Saga, which is, of course, LEGO Indiana Jones, The Original Adventures. Now, I have it for the Xbox 360. I'm currently looking at the cover right now. You're not seeing, you're seeing gameplay. But basically, I got this in 2008 or 9, I think, somewhere along those lines. Basically, when it came out in that time frame. For the PS2, I remember playing it. I remember freaking loving it. Now, again, this is just my opinion, but I don't think that Indiana Jones, any of it, is meant for kids. Primarily because it's extremely violent. Now, of course, LEGO games are for kids, but they're not made for kids. They're appropriate for kids. We all know that by now. They're not only for children. So, like, I'm an adult. I play them. Adults play these probably more than kids, honestly, and teens. But when I first saw Raiders of the Lost Ark, I saw freaking Bellox's head explode, and that kind of effed me up because it's not for kids. Raiders of the Lost Ark was PG. Blah, 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 should have been R, blah, blah, blah. Temple of Doom was the first, I believe the first, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe Temple of Doom was the first PG-13 movie ever made, which is pretty cool, because before it was G, PG, R, now it's, of course, G, PG, PG-13, R. and NC-17. And then, of course, The Last Crusade was PG-13, and Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, which is a great film. I don't have anything wrong with it. I think people hate Kingdom for no reason. But this game, Lego Indiana Jones: The Original Adventures, is, of course, the original trilogy, right? The original adventures. Indiana Jones 1, 2, 3. And, man, off the bat, this is another great Lego game. I think that this is probably the... It doesn't innovate too much, because the complete saga was extremely, I don't know how to word it. It was extremely revolutionary, and they're like, okay, how do we, like, characters have the Force, they have blaster powers, they have lightsabers, they have all this crap, and it's like, how do you translate that to Indiana Jones, where a majority of the people have a freaking gun, or they just punch with their fists, and one of the ways they did that was, of course, more brawling, right? So you'd be able to kind of press the X button on, Xbox and just kind of beat the crap out of guys, but there'd be a certain thing where you kind of like hold them up or throw them, or different things like that. Of course, you had the hub world, which is the Barnett College, which you're seeing right now, probably. It's a neat hub. It's not that good. It's probably my least favorite hub in these original ones because there's not much to it. The complete saga, there really isn't much to that one either. But I don't know, it just felt more iconic. This is just the freaking college. Maybe one day if they ever redo a Lego Indiana Jones game, of course, we'll get a vast, sprawling open world, but until then, we have the Barnett College. And then we have, of course, Indiana Jones using the whip so he can travel from one place to another, pull Lego objects down, yada, 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 use your pistol. You'd run out of, bullets, so you have to throw it away. It's not too crazy, but they did stuff. Basically, Lego Indiana Jones, this game, it does not feel like a Lego Star Wars game with Indiana Jones skins. It feels like its own thing. And a lot of people go, oh, franchise, every Lego game is the same. You play one, you play them all. Well, that's just simply incorrect, as a person that played them all, because by that logic, every Call of Duty is the same, every Assassin's Creed, GTA. That's the freaking point of a game series, morons, It's like you have the same thing, right? You build things, you collect studs, you do levels in a hub, but things change, There's no lightsabers in Indiana Jones, you know what I mean? You have the whip, you have all these different things. So moving on to, from the college into Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. I'm filming this, filming my talking before the gameplay, so excuse me, but, it's how it works. But you're going to hopefully be seeing Raiders of the Lost Ark content here. But I think that they mesh together a really good, the Indiana Jones movies are really good. I think Raiders of the Lost Ark might be my favorite. I love them all, really. But Raiders was really something freaking cool, It was like, oh my god, it's Han Solo, but it's like Uncharted and Tintin and, Tomb Raider, all these different things kind of meshed into one. Of course, those came after Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones is like the original, but having Raiders, just the iconic boulder chase, the scene where he gets the golden idol, being able to do these different puzzles with the whip, of course, building bricks is the same. Different characters like Satipo, I think his name is, Satipo, he could, played by Alfred Molina, he can, dig up with the shovel. So, it's nothing revolutionary, but comparing this straightforward right after the complete saga, it is something different in the same type of tongue-in-cheek, family-friendly, all-ages version that was the complete saga. They're just kind of transferring that same energy and vibe into an Indiana Jones landscape, and I think that's really cool. Of course, the boss fights are cool. There's different enemies. There's a lot of enemies on screen at the same time. Sometimes you're going to be punching and shooting a lot of guys. Of course, like I said, the boss fights are cool. The puzzles in Raiders were really cool as well, having the ability to kind of use the torch, just kind of put things out and light things on fire. And it was fun, taking cover behind things, picking up objects like stools, benches, and chairs, and kind of throwing them or bashing them over enemies' heads. Really effing cool, So they did a lot of things in this game that not a lot of people kind of remember it for. People look at Lego Indiana Jones and they go, oh, it's Lego Indiana Jones, move on. But this game kind of pioneered a lot that we're going to be seeing in the future of these games. And like I said, Raiders of the Lost Ark had a great epic battle scene, with the... I do think that Indiana Jones 2, when we get to that, it did do some things better, but Indiana Jones 1, the original adventures, this game did kind of start the Indiana Jones franchise, It really kind of, I don't know, it kind of pioneered the brawling aspect, it wasn't... Because, like I said before, how do you make these characters the same? And that's one of my negatives, is that a lot of the characters they are not different. They are the same, You got the same dude that punches, the same animation, or, some characters have different jumping animations and all that. The levels in this game are what really thrives. Another negative would have to be, like I said, the Barnett College. It's kind of boring, kind of flat, nothing to do, really. The Cantina had music. This is just kind of, it's the college, you know what I mean? But, again, going back to Raiders, man, this had really good stuff. and I enjoyed it a lot. So moving on to Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, the first, I believe, PG-13 movie ever made. This was pretty dark, you know. I mean, it was kind of hard because how do you cover such a dark and mature theme in a movie and cover it to a family-friendly Lego game? And they did a great job, you know, in having the scene where like Willie Scott is like screaming and belching like a crazy hooligan. I think like a banshee. I think having that in there where you can actually hold B and she just effing screams to break glass, I think that's pretty funny. Having Short Round in the game is pretty cool as well. You know, he can go through different access panels, kind of like young Anakin in the Phantom Menace Episode 1 in the complete saga. But again, you know, using the whip in Temple of Doom to kind of destroy the Tuggies, I think, the Tuggy. Those weird dude, the Hogarum, Sogarum, you know, those little fudgers. Using the whip to disarm them and use their own weapons against them, or having the scene where you're kind of like fighting the different people or exploring the palace, or just simply trying to use the different abilities. You know, like Indiana Jones is scared of snakes, so in order to do that, you'd have to switch to Willie, you know what I mean, or Short Round, and beat up, kill the snakes, or, you know, get fire in the pit, or what have you, and kind of have Indiana Jones progress. So lots of cool puzzles. You know, it's Lego game puzzles are easy, but they're not super easy, because if you're a kid, teen, or adult, you know, maybe you've seen the Indiana Jones movies once or twice, but you don't quite remember that Willie screams a lot, you know, so you might be looking at the glass pieces and going, how the fudge do I break the glass, you know, or different, you know, with of course, Complete Saga and this game as well. It's more with Complete Saga, but a lot of the Lego games puzzles deal down to you need to understand the characters. You know what I mean? In Lego Marvel 1, which I'll get to in a while here, but, you know, of course we all know Spider-Man has webs, right? But if you're looking at Hulk and you go, oh, how do I switch, you know, how do I do certain things with, you know, you need to know that Iron Man has a laser in that mark, or Iron Man shoots rockets, or Wolverine can use his scent to dig, you know. Casual Marvel fans who don't delve deep into the franchises, or Indiana Jones or Star Wars, don't necessarily pick up on those things. So having this game, Indiana Jones, having the ability to use different characters was really freaking cool, I think. And again, exploring the palace was neat. You know, having just the comedic timing in there. The cutscenes are always funny, man. They can make the most serious moment still kind of serious, but also funny at the same time. Really good stuff there. And like I said, I think my favorite part of Temple of Doom would have to be, like, you know, like the fight in the temple, exploring the palace, and of course the big battle on the bridge. That was pretty cool as well. A lot of iconic moments in the Temple of Doom, and they really carry that over well into the video game portion. So moving on, this is going to be kind of a shorter one because there's only 3 movies compared to 6. But moving on to Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. This was, of course, probably the most comedic Indiana Jones movie with Sean Connery, who sadly passed away. You know, he's talking like this, and he's like, "Oh, Dr. Jones, and Indiana." Come on, Junior. You know, he would just keep saying Junior all the time. And, you know, there are parts in The Last Crusade I didn't like. I think it was too jokey, too slapstick at times. It's a good movie, and I love it. But there's, you know, it's not as, like, Raiders is a happy medium. Temple of Doom's really effing dark, and then Last Crusade's like a complete opposite of Temple, you know. And Kingdom's kind of like Raiders. But The Last Crusade is funny in certain aspects, and Lego games are almost always funny because they have to appeal to everyone. You know what I mean? They can't be super dark, but they can't be too jokey where it turns an adult away. You know, they strike that neat balance, and that's what Lego's great at. But having that mix of, you know, like Sean Connery crazy ass stuff happening, and then you get in the Lego game him, you know, of course they can't talk, so they're going, you know, they're just kind of pantomiming and stuff like that. But it really is funny to kind of see you know, what they pull off in The Last Crusade, because there's a lot of funny moments in the film, and then having that translate into the actual, you know, game is pretty friggin' funny. Having the one of my favorite scenes in Last Crusade, I don't know, you're either going to be seeing it in this video or you're not. You know, I don't know what I'm going to be choosing here, but you know, there's a scene where I think like the airplane crashes in the kind of like the desert area, and there's like a bunch of paratroopers, right? And there's a bunch of bombs falling down. If you remember, if you played it, you know what I'm talking about. And you have to kind of dodge the bombs. And there's just some really neat gameplay elements. You know, some of these gameplay things are really quick. You know what I mean? Like the bomb, like the guys on the parachute, you know, dropping those bombs, like I mentioned. That's not super long and stretched out. You know, it's fairly quick. You know, if you know what you're doing, you can pass through it in 2 seconds. But the fact that they managed to take these scenes and make it into worthwhile gameplay. You know, not many Indiana Jones games out there are very good. I think really the only ones that I consider worth playing are the Lego Indiana Jones games, and this one's a really good example because again, it meshes these different elements into one, and I think they do a great job with it. So again, going into Last Crusade to cap off that film in this game, I think having the blimp fight is freaking amazing. I think that was really cool. The end level in Last Crusade where Indiana Jones has to go through the traps, that can be kind of difficult. You know what I mean? Going through the saw blades, and if you didn't see the movie, you know, you're like, what the fudge am I doing here? You know what I mean? Like, there's that one part where Indiana Jones has to believe in the faith of God, you know, Jesus Christ, to go past the invisible bridge to get the chalice. And, you know, when I was a kid, I didn't see the movie because it's not for kids. So I'm like, what the heck am I, you know what I mean? There's no bridge. I beat up everything. There's no bricks to build a bridge. So, you know, once you know the movie, that's the thing. You know, I once went to a GameStop, and I was talking about Lego Lord of the Rings with the worker. This was like 2012. And he was like, oh, man, I love Lego games. And he was like, I don't know, 30 or 28 or something. And he was like, man, but they're really hard. And I'm like, really? You think they're hard? I mean, they're not that easy, but they're not the hardest thing in the world. And he's like, yeah, man, like the Lord of the Rings, dude, you have to know each ability, and he's going on and on. And it's true, you know what I mean? If you don't know, and this is kind of dumb, but if you don't know that short round is short and can fit in access panels, or Indiana Jones can use a whip to disarm enemies, it doesn't hold your hand, you know what I mean? You need to know the franchise a little bit to understand the gameplay mechanics, and that can be a negative, but I think that Indiana Jones is pretty accessible. You know, I don't think it's for kids, but I do think if, you know, we all know kids watch it. I mean, come on, kids play effing Call of Duty and GTA. Parents suck. What am I going to tell you? But I think that, like I said, the ability to kind of memorize and understand just these different elements, man, it's pretty crazy. So again, to wrap up Lego Indiana Jones, The Original Adventures, it's not perfect. I think the Barnett College could use some work. It's kind of boring, and you have to know a lot about the characters to understand things. It doesn't really hold your hand, but this game is funny. It's fun as fudge. It's got really good cutscenes, pretty good graphics for 2008. You know what I mean? Same year as GTA 4. Let's be honest, this game looks better than GTA 4. I'll tell you that freaking much. But honestly, it's a blast. You know what I mean? More than 60 playable characters. You know, which isn't that much compared to like Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga freaking 300. But you know, it was pretty cool. The ability to, you know, it was always tough because Star Wars, like I said, you have lightsabers and the Force and grapple points, but this is just guns and punching. You know what I mean? How do you make that fun? And sometimes the characters can blend together, but I do think, all in all, if you haven't played Lego Indiana Jones The Original Adventures and you're looking forward to play something that before Skywalker Saga and you like Indiana Jones, I would definitely play it. I think it's really fun. Again, great levels, captures the movies really well, and I love playing it. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people that don't like Indy 2. When I cover that game, we'll talk about it. But from probably like a 0 to a 10 rating, I'd probably give Lego Indiana Jones The Original Adventures like a 9. I'd only take off those points because, again, the college and sometimes the characters, there's not really a big incentive to collect all the characters unless you're a huge fan of Indiana Jones like myself. I collected them all because I love the characters, but, you know, if you really want, like, you know, like in Lego Marvel, it's like, oh, Iron Man has rockets, but Wolverine doesn't, so there's an incentive there. Indiana Jones can punch, and, you know, I don't know, the freaking pilot, not Jock, it's just some random, or, you know, the librarian character, he just punches too, so it's kind of, you know, why do I need a librarian? So it's a whole thing. But anyway, again, Lego Indiana Jones The Original Adventures is fun. Hope you guys enjoyed my video and my skit. Next one in this big, long-winded franchise will be Lego Batman, the video game. It's kind of hard to make up skits when I'm just by myself, but hey, I'm going to try my best. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Tell me what you think about Lego Indiana Jones The Original Adventures in the comments. Thank you guys, and we'll see you in the next video.